Hey, what's up? This is Joe. This video is going to take you further into the mountains of Northwest Thailand, on and off some crazy mountain roads, camping in the Thai wilderness with minimal equipment, and becoming miserably sick in the jungle. After a fitful night of sleeping in the jungle without a tent, I headed back down from the mountains. Somewhere along the way, I picked up a particularly virulent form of intestinal bug and become horribly sick. I wasn't sure just how much further I could make it in my current state. Nevertheless, I was in good spirits and glad to finally be back on the road. All right, back at this awesome little overlook thing. I'm feeling pretty good today, man. My trip to Thailand was off to admittedly a pretty rough start, and I feel pretty good in spite of being absolutely sick. All night last night I was going from my little camp to the woods, and it was bloody, and so yeah, pretty bad. But anyway, I'm feeling good, man. The sun's coming out. I got this nice view back here. In spite of my apparent optimism about the situation, the fact was I was in pretty bad shape. As soon as I could, I found a jungle shack near Shangdao and prepared to hunker down for several days of debilitating sickness. I am on the mend, just viciously sick from something, but found this little place, no air conditioning, kind of a little jungle shack, I guess. Sort of bare bones, got all kinds of gecko lizards running around on the walls and stuff, which is kind of interesting. They actually make a repellent for them, but I don't mind them. I got this whole freaking outside patio, so I'm just gonna hole up here, relax, drink some fluids until I start feeling better, and then get back on the road. So that place is about 14 bucks, which is a little out of my price range, honestly, but sick as hell. What else you gonna do, you know? Anyway, I'm heading into town and gonna look for somewhere to eat. Here's your pork blood. Swadee krab. Araha Taurai krab. For 5 baht. Okay. Song. Uh-huh. 5 baht. Okay. Song. And this one? Nung. Ah. Okay, ขอบคุณครับ All right, so I got some barbecue sticks from in there. I have to be honest, in my current intestinal state, this isn't the first thing that I really feel like going to, but it's all they have. I mean, it's everything is street food, so there's no getting around it. For 30 baht, that's less than $1 for 5 sticks of deliciousness. All right, so we got what looks like pork belly. This is some other thing, probably chicken intestine. roasted chicken intestine, delicious. No freaking idea what that is, but anyway, here goes. I can't possibly get any sicker than I already am, so why not? Chicken. And of course here you got your basic roast pork belly on a stick. Oh, that's good. Chicken intestine. I've already demolished through these like nobody's business. These things are like candy. Yep, that's one of the many little geckos you see. Oh, there's another one. I think I used to have some of these as pets. They just kind of run around all over the place. Don't really bother me, but they do make some kind of a repellent for them. I've seen in the store. I guess some people don't want them around for whatever reason. They might actually attract snakes because several species of snakes rely on these as a food source. But I don't mind them. All right, here's another Joe's Exotic Chip review. We got the music of Chiang Mai playing somewhere in the background. These are truffle flavored chips. I confess, I've had these before. They're absolutely awesome. They're probably one of my favorites out of the whole bunch. This knocks you over the head. Earthy, mushroomy truffle flavor. You can identify it right away. These things are absolutely great. I would be willing to bet there's not a single natural flavor in these chips. Actually, it does say natural flavor. At some point, they learned how to synthesize the chemical that gives truffles their distinctive taste and smell. And since then, people have been making so-called truffle-infused olive oils and everything else, where it's like, never seen a real truffle a day in its life, but they've learned how to replicate the exact chemical. As far as chips, these are one of my favorites of all time. All right, so mercifully feeling a million times better today. Based on the severity of that illness, I seriously thought that there was a possibility I was going to be laid up for quite a lot longer and maybe have to see a doctor. But feel fine, refreshed, energized, hydrated, and ready to get back on the bike and hit the road. Where I end up today, I have no idea. Probably going to do the normal thing and look for the curviest line on the map and see where that takes us. After carefully examining the map, I decided on a route which would take me northwest of my current position towards some ultra gnarly looking roads which appeared to form a loop. This ambitious bit of riding would take the better part of 2 days to complete and would require once again sleeping in the Thai wilderness using only tarps and a mosquito net. For miles and miles, I continued climbing higher and higher into the mountains, all the while dodging potholes and oncoming traffic. right, I'm out here riding. It looks like this is going to be kind of a squiggly line until I get to some small town, and then it's going to be another squiggly line and do kind of a loop back to Chengdao. I've climbed a significant amount of altitude, and even though the sun is shining, I'm going to put on a sweatshirt because it is getting pretty chilly already, even though it's midday. Honestly, if you blindfolded me and dropped me right here, I would almost think that I was back in the Blue Ridge Mountains. To be honest, it took a minute to get used to riding on the left side of the road, but surprisingly not as long as I thought it would take. Certainly when I started, there were some instances where just instinctively, as an American, I want to ride on the right side of the road and end up, you know, riding right into oncoming traffic. But it actually didn't take that long to get used to being on the other side. Actually, at this point, I think it might feel a little weird getting back home and having to switch again. So get used to it pretty quick. I had just about reached the tops of the mountains I'd been climbing, and so began a slow, precarious descent toward the town I mentioned earlier. This would put me roughly at the midway point in the loop. At this point, it was late afternoon, and with the sun hanging low in the west, I began looking for a suitable place to make camp. It's a cool little tribal village up here. So somewhere out here might work if I was absolutely desperate, and I waited until the sun went down. You know, I could probably get away with camping right there, kind of from sundown to sunup, sort of a deal. But as it is, I'm still way up in the pines, and I know it's going to get cold, so I'm going to try to shed some altitude really before I even start to look for a spot. So this that I'm on appears to be some kind of forest access road. It doesn't look on the map like it leads to any village or town or anything. So I'm gonna mark this spot on my map, and then if I don't find something else, probably come back here. But this looks actually pretty good. Doesn't look like this road is really used a lot. I continued heading down the mountains to the next town where I would stock up on food and water. Swadika, Raka Taurai,
ไม้ละ10 บาทครับ10 บาท
10 baht,
ครับ
Song,
2 ไม้ ครับอันนี้
Song. Kotoka. Okay, and this one, Song. Okay. No idea what I just ordered. Okay. ขอบคุณครับ Wow, this is a ridiculous amount of food. These really good. That's some kind of a compressed like crab cake. Now we got these guys. Kind of like a meat popsicle, it looks like. No idea what that is. It's good. Alright, another one of Joe's exotic chip reviews. This one is red hot lobster. Strong smell of shellfish as soon as you open the bag. That's a good sign. I don't know if I'd say it reminds me of lobster, but it's definitely got a shellfishy kind of a flavor to it. Really good. A little bit spicy. Yeah, I could see how it's kind of got a little bit of a spicy lobster bisque kind of a flavor to it. These are addictive. Out here in these little towns and villages, man, the people are just so frickin' friendly. Not to say that people in other parts aren't as nice, but I think they've interacted with tourists so much that they sort of put on a face where it's, oh, you're just another tourist, you know, another one of these. Maybe they've had a bad experience. So when you come to these little towns and villages and stuff, I feel like you get a little bit more of a glimpse into like the true Thai culture and the way that Thai people really are. Hello, Swadee.
Where you go?
America.
Oh. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I've gotten gassed up and filled up on interesting looking street food. But anyway, heading back to my sort of off-road crazy spot that I found earlier. With the sun going down, I then began riding the piss out of the little 155 scooter and giving her what for on the rutted up dirt. I found it's a lot easier to justify this kind of riding when it's not your bike. I guess I could probably make camp here. Obviously somebody's made a fire. Could sleep right there. The ground's pretty good. Somebody made a fire over there. Place does seem very remote. The road's nice, but I don't think it's particularly well traveled. I don't see a lot of tracks. Anyway, I might actually head down this way a little bit and see if there's something better down there. All right, yeah, that looks like about as good as it's gonna get. I really don't think anybody's gonna come here, especially not after sundown. With no tent or low overhanging branches from which I could string my mosquito net, I began looking around and trying to create some sort of a makeshift shelter. Alright, so MTV cribs. This is my crib. Actually, this one turned out a damn sight better than the one I slept in the other night. Got kind of a bivvy sort of a deal worked out here. I put that branch, obviously with the fork in it, up against the tree so that I could tie off that mosquito net. I still don't really have a lot of coverage, and actually I probably don't even need that because the mosquitoes are not bad at all up here. It's really dry. I put this tarp kind of as low as possible because it is windy and it is high altitude, so I do expect it to get cold. So I want to be as much out of the wind as absolutely possible. Well, I can tell already this is going to be a cold, cold night because that wind is coming in despite my best efforts to kind of make kind of a shelter. Luckily, I had 3 pairs of socks and some fingerless gloves. I got this hoodie. So I found as long as you keep your head, your hands, and your feet warm, generally the rest of your body is okay. It's not going to get like freezing cold. It's not like that. It's just going to be a little bit colder than what I'm prepared for because I don't have a sleeping bag. I just got this kind of like a sheet and then a little kind of airline blanket. It's like 7 p.m. and maybe 65. Feels a little cooler than that with the wind, so you know, it's going to drop a little bit more, but it won't be anything that's not survivable. Little home improvement I just did. Basically, I grabbed a couple of those big branches, tied the tarp down as low as possible, and then draped the branches over one side of the tarp so none of the draft could get in. And actually now it's a little too freaking hot in here. So I might actually end up taking these gloves off and maybe a pair of these socks because it's pretty warm in here. All right, about 7 a.m. Had an okay night last night, maybe 6 out of 10. Just couldn't really get comfortable. The ground's on a little bit of a slope because I put it anchored off of that tree, so it's kind of next to the base of the tree. Wasn't bad. I mean, apparently I got about 7 hours of sleep last night, so I felt like I was waking up and changing position all night. I got lazy and took a leak, just kind of rolled over and took a leak, not realizing there's a species of ant around here that's irresistibly drawn to the smell of urine. And I've heard about this before. I thought they were only in South America, but when I woke up this morning, there's just a carpet of ants. I mean, ants on top of ants on top of ants, you know, right next to me. But luckily I was under that mosquito net. And they're a weird kind of ant too, because if you crush them, they leave like a reddish kind of a residue. Almost looks like blood. Other than that, could have been worse. No car noise really to speak of. And the highway's like maybe a mile over that way. I did hear some cars periodically. Nobody came down here. I don't think this road is really used for much aside from maybe like forest access or something like that. Anyway, like I said, I got some branches and stuff and put them on one side of the tarp to keep the draft out, which was actually really effective. At one point during the night, I had to take some layers off. Really well insulated. The only downside, all the condensation builds up under there, and if you touch the top of it, it's just, you know, completely dripping wet. So, but I feel good. I didn't pay any money to camp out here. About to drink some coffee and slowly get packed up and go back on this crazy road that I've been on, man. This road, it is just so twisty, lots of hairpins. The only thing that sucks is like the left half of the road is really messed up, so you're always going on potholes and stuff like that. And you want to be on the left half of the road because, you know, so many of the trucks and cars and stuff just ride dead in the center of the road. So if you're on the right half of your lane, potentially you're in trouble. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box for anybody that might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.